News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Nathan Hager.
And I'm Karen Moskow.
Karen, we begin with breaking developments in the Jeffrey Epstein case. President Donald Trump has been under growing pressure from within his own party to release documents related to the late child sex offender. Now, the president's authorized the Justice Department to seek the release of grand jury testimony in the case. The move comes after a Wall Street Journal report that President Trump gave a suggestive letter to Epstein as part of an album for his 50th birthday. House Speaker Mike Johnson says the president is making the right move.
We trust the American people. They can draw their own conclusions. And so he's in the process of releasing the information that can be released. It's not held up by a court or involves, victims of crimes or something like that.
House Speaker Mike Johnson reacted to the news on Capitol Hill last night. President Trump posted on social media that Attorney General Pam Bondi should produce pertinent grand jury testimony subject to court approval. It's unclear whether the courts would release that testimony. It is typically kept secret. As for the Journal report on the birthday letter, President Trump is calling that fake news and now threatening to sue the paper.
Nathan, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell has sent a letter to the White House budget director as he faces mounting pressure over the central bank's $2.5 billion renovation. Powell's letter mostly repeats information from a frequently asked questions page on the Fed's website. The chairman has blamed rising building costs for the overruns. Budget Director Russ Vought says the project has been horribly mismanaged.
This is not something the American people should expect from their government. And it comes at the real-world implication of us not having the Fed running a large-ass program that doesn't allow us to bring in the necessary resources to the Treasury.
White House Budget Director Russ Vought spoke to reporters at the White House as criticisms come on top of an ongoing push by President Trump and his allies for the Fed to lower interest rates.
Yeah, that pressure isn't just coming from the Fed. Or from the president, Karen. He's not the only one calling for rate cuts. Fed Governor Christopher Waller says policymakers should cut this month to support a labor market that he says is showing signs of weakness.
I believe it makes sense to cut the FOMC's policy rate by 25 basis points 2 weeks from now. And looking to later this year, if, as I expect, underlying inflation remains in check, with headline inflation data reporting modest but temporary increases from tariffs, and the economy continues to grow slowly, I would support even further 25 basis point cuts to move policy towards neutral.
Fed Governor Christopher Waller spoke at a speech in New York yesterday. Stay with us. We'll speak live with Governor Waller at 8 a.m. Wall Street time on Bloomberg Radio.
Nathan, new developments this morning involving the war in Ukraine. European Union states have approved a fresh sanctions package on Russia. We go to London and get the latest with Bloomberg's Ewan Potts. Ewan.
Karen and Nathan, this is the 18th package of EU sanctions against Russia since its invasion of Ukraine. The measures will see about 20 more Russian banks cut off from the international payment system SWIFT, and energy exports will be targeted with restrictions on oil processed in third countries, including the blacklisting of a refinery in India, part owned by Russian state oil-run company Rosneft. And the EU cap on Russian oil prices, currently set at $60 a barrel, will now be cut to $15 below market rates. In London, I'm Ewan Potts, Bloomberg Radio.
All right, Ewan, thank you. We turn now to the markets. Both the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ begin the day near record highs. Shares of Netflix are down 1.5% now, despite earnings beating investor expectations in every major metric. The world's most popular paid streaming service is also raising its forecast for full-year sales and profit margins. Netflix CEO Ted Sarandos says his outlook is positive.
We're feeling really good about the business. We had a plan to reaccelerate growth, and we delivered on that plan. And engagement, which we view as our best proxy for member happiness, because when people watch more, they stick around longer. So that's retention. Netflix CEO Ted Sarandos spoke on the company earnings call. Netflix shares have nearly doubled over the past year. The company's market value now tops $500 billion, making Netflix more valuable than Disney, Comcast, and Warner Brothers Discovery combined.
And that's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Karen Moskow.
I'm Nathan Hager, and this is Bloomberg.